Right, I finally managed to get hold of all my seeds for this season. So let me show you what I've got here. Okay, so we have some organic potatoes Sarpomira, and I have only one bag because the rest of the potatoes will be grown from the shop. So I will just literally buy the grocery potatoes, put them in the ground, and we're gonna compare how they will do against the one bought from shop. Now all these are from the single company called Mall Veg, and I bought them from them because they have small amount of seeds, which allowed me to buy more varieties. And I need more varieties because goal for this season for me is to learn. So the more varieties, the better, right? The last seeds are from the company called the Real Seed, and these are the only ones that are open pollinated. Most of the all the other hybrids. Now, I want to have open pollinated seeds because I want to save seeds from these plants for the next years. So we will try to pick up the strongest plant and save the seeds, and next year, rather than buying seeds of these plants, we're just gonna use mine. And I think that seed saving is great stuff. I don't think you can count on farmers to do it because they have to rely on the seeds, so they usually just buy in bulk. But small growers, people who own the gardens and plots, I think it's we're gonna have a much easier time to save the seeds. So I think it's worth to, because otherwise those varieties will be gone in time, just basically pushed out by the hybrids, which are more and more popular. So yeah, anyway, to grow so now the other problem is that I have only 6 to 7 hours a week to look after the plot. Just basically I'm just busy around this time, and that's the most I can sacrifice for the plot so far. Now to grow so many varieties, right, I need a good plan, and that brings me to another part of this video. So let me show you how I plan to do it this year, how the crop rotation will look like, and the sowing schedule. And to do this, we have to go to and move to my computer. So let's do it now. Also, before we start, I just want to show you the books on which I base my spreadsheet. So I think whenever you start with something new, I think it's good to have like a guidance, like someone's that is experienced, and which methods you try to replicate yourself. And in my case, I will try to use methods described by Charles Dowding. I read his book for a long time, and I really like the way how he's growing vegetables and using no-dig methods. And his latest book, How to Create Vegetable Garden, is really useful. It contains a lot of tables, which tells you what variety to grow and when. For example, how long it takes from sowing to planting, from planting to harvesting. Really useful stuff. Also, Charles is based in Somerset, while I'm currently in Surrey, which have both have very similar weather. And if you guys are from US, it's going to be your equivalent of zone 8 and 9, I believe. So the next book I'm using was written by Jean-Martin Fortier, who is living in Canada and have a 1.5 acre farm in there. And he's growing huge amount of vegetables from this patch, and using mostly hand tools, and becoming better and better, basically, every year coming up with new ways of improving things. So right, his book is called the book he written is great. The Market Garden is called Market Gardener, and I do recommend it. He described in this book all the way that he's running his farm and all the solutions that he came up with and he's using. So I got inspired, basically. I got inspired by this guy and the book he wrote, and I like the way that, for example, he shaped the beds. He have narrow beds. So even though I have such a small plot, I see benefits of it. I can easily cross through the beds. I don't have to go around them. If I have any covers, I can use the same cover across all beds because all the beds are the same. And he also gave in the book the spacing that he's using that worked for him for all those years, because he have already a lot of years of experience, even though he's still young. So yeah, you know, I'll try to use this book, and I do recommend it, guys. If you have a chance, you know, just read it. Okay, so what you can see is how I organize my beds. So you see I've called my beds A, B, C, D, F, G, and each of the beds is divided in 9 sections. Each section is 1 meter wide, which is roughly 40 inches. Despite the last section, number 9, which will be, I think it's going to be half. So it's going to be just 20 inches. So this is the first spreadsheet, and this is crop rotation. Also, just to let you know, you can find all these spreadsheets in internet, so you can have a look at them whenever you want. I put the link to this in the about section. Now, each of these rows represent one bed, as you could see on the previous photo. And you know, everyone have different approach to crop rotation. When I start looking for it in internet, there's just so many information. Some people just go about vegetable types. Some people go about you know, dividing roots with leaf vegetables and go this way. And some people just don't even care about rotation and just try to squeeze as many different varieties in one bed throughout the one growing season to utilize the bed as best as you can. And that's the approach I want to take at some point. However, for now, to keep things simple, I decided to still try to use the crop rotation, just to have this kind of guideline, you know, for each year. So anyway, here we have, I decided to squeeze alliums and umbellifers into one section, right? Then we have potatoes, which represent totally different section. Then we have brassicas, legumes, which will be all beans and peas, and miscellaneous. And miscellaneous will be lettuces, beets, and all this type of, and even cucumbers, tomatoes, and so forth. Now, this is not really this is not the approach that you're gonna find in internet, and I think that everyone should create their own crop rotation that's gonna fit their garden as good as possible. So you can still try to stick to the main guidelines. Like for example, in my case, as you can see, in the first year, brassicas occupy legumes occupy these two beds, and then in the second year, brassicas gonna go there, which will, with the idea is that they're gonna use the nitrogen that has been left by legumes in their root nodules. Also, as you can see, brassicas will not show up in the same bed at least for 2 years. I think 2 years might not even sometimes be enough for the disease that is living in the soil to disappear, but you know, that's better than keeping them the planting in the same bed every year. So you know, I'm still trying to adhere to these rules. And also the other idea of crop rotation is that you don't want to plant the same crop in the same year, because it's going to use the same nutrients on and on. So you know, again, that's why I want to divide them. Anyway, that's the idea. You know, when I was creating it, I was just simply going block with blocks down, as you can see, until I finally reached the same sequence as I had in the year 1. So that's how I figured out 7 years. I didn't look it up in the internet or anything. And we're just gonna see how it goes. You know, in my case, I want to grow as many brassicas as I can and legumes because I like them. Maybe in your case, you want to grow more potatoes or more lettuces. You know, so it's all gonna depend on your garden. Anyway, that's the crop rotation. Let's move to the plants that we're gonna grow.